What happens when childhood isn't about playgrounds and video games but monster trucks, million-dollar lawsuits, and living inside a reality show? For the Sparks family, better known as the Diesel brothers, life is anything but ordinary. To the outside world, they're larger-than-life mechanics, building outrageous trucks and filming wild stunts for millions of fans. But behind the roaring engines and giant tires lies a story far more complicated. Their kids grew up in the spotlight, experiencing a fantasy most children could only dream of, while at the same time living under the shadow of scandals that nearly destroyed everything. For most kids, the school drop-off line is filled with minivans, SUVs, and maybe the occasional pickup truck. For Heavy D Sparks kids, it's a monster-sized spectacle. Forget standard buses. One summer, their dad rolled up to school in the world's biggest school bus, a machine so massive it looked more like military hardware than family transport. When the last bell rang, classmates piled into small cars while the Sparks kids climbed aboard an unstoppable diesel-powered beast. That's just a Tuesday for them. Toys? Think again. Bo Sparks doesn't play with remote control trucks. He has his very own competition-level mini brodozer, complete with a Civic motor, transfer case, suspension built for real jumps, and shocks that rival professional rigs. Meanwhile, his sister Charlie Mae celebrates birthdays not with balloons and sheet cake, but with drive-in movie theaters in her backyard, concession stands, go-kart tracks, and crowds of friends. It's extravagance turned into normal life. But behind the laughter and big smiles, there's something deeper. These kids aren't just having fun, they're stepping into roles that carry weight. Every toy is really a machine that demands skill and responsibility. Every party is a performance on camera. Their everyday lives blur the line between reality and entertainment, raising the question, is this a dream childhood or the setup for enormous pressure later? If there's one thing Heavy D Sparks treasures more than building trucks, it's sharing those experiences with his kids. And nothing captures that better than the day he put his young son Bo into the mini brodozer. At first glance, it looked like a father-son playdate, but in reality it was a test of nerves and trust. Bo was dwarfed by the roll cage, barely able to reach the pedals without being propped up by towels and pillows. For most kids, riding a bike without training wheels is the milestone. For Bo, it was handling a scaled-down monster truck built for competition. The risk wasn't lost on Heavy D. He knew this machine wasn't a toy, it was a piece of hardware that even adults would struggle to master. Yet he believed in his son. Their first laps together were cautious, Heavy D leading in the full-size brodozer while Bo followed nervously behind. But soon nerves gave way to instinct. Bo tackled dirt mounds, ripped through puddles, and eventually soared through the air in his first jump. Watching his son conquer fear, Heavy D described it as one of the greatest moments of his life. But that's where the Sparks story gets complicated. Because while Heavy D was proudly building a dynasty of drivers at home, another storm was brewing that no amount of horsepower could outrun. Long before lawsuits and headlines, the Sparks name was synonymous with rebellion. As the Diesel brothers, Heavy D and his crew turned their passion for trucks into a global brand, they weren't just mechanics, they were entertainers. Their builds went viral online, catching the attention of Discovery Channel producers who saw the makings of a hit show. Go big or go home wasn't just a motto, it was the foundation of their empire. They built trucks that defied logic, from massive coal-rolling rigs to monster machines designed to shock crowds. Fans loved it. Every outrageous stunt, every wild customization, every oversized creation only cemented their reputation as the kings of diesel culture. And for their kids, it meant growing up inside a kingdom built on horsepower. But there was another side to that empire. The outlaw image that won them fans also attracted critics. The trucks weren't just spectacles, they were deliberate middle fingers to environmental rules. Rolling coal, spewing black smoke into the air wasn't just a gimmick, it was a violation. And those violations didn't go unnoticed. As the Diesel brothers rose higher, they were planting the seeds of their biggest downfall. What started as a TV dream quickly spiraled into a legal nightmare that threatened not just the brand but the family itself. The turning point came when Utah Physicians for a Healthy Environment decided enough was enough. To them, the Diesel brothers weren't just TV stars, they were polluters poisoning communities. Investigators bought one of the Sparks trucks, ran emissions tests, and found it was spewing 36 times more pollution than a stock vehicle. That discovery sparked a lawsuit under the Clean Air Act that would haunt the Sparks family for years. In March 2020, the hammer dropped. A federal judge ordered the Diesel brothers to pay $851,000 in penalties for hundreds of violations. Worse, they were banned from ever tampering with emission systems again. For a brand built on pushing limits, this wasn't just a fine, it was an identity crisis. And that wasn't all. Around the same time, Italian fashion giant Diesel Spa sued them over their name, claiming Diesel Brothers was too close to their trademark. Another courtroom battle, another crushing financial hit. Even after appeals, the Sparks empire faced a staggering $1.8 million judgment. The public image shifted overnight. Heroes to some, villains to others, the Sparks name was suddenly synonymous with controversy. For their kids, it meant living in a world where dad was both the hero on YouTube and the defendant in federal court. Imagine being a kid, your dad a TV star, your life filled with monster trucks and outrageous parties, while outside your front door, reporters cover federal trials with his name on the docket. That was the reality for Bo, Charlie, and the Sparks children. To classmates, they were the lucky ones living a dream. To the world, they were heirs to a crumbling empire under fire. The lawsuits didn't just hurt finances, they changed perception. What once looked like harmless rebellion was now framed as reckless lawbreaking. For the Sparks kids, that shadow was unavoidable. Every video of Bo driving the mini brodozer or Charlie hosting her birthday bash carried the invisible weight of scandal. Heavy D tried to shield them, but fame isn't something you can turn off. Their childhoods were lived online, in front of millions of viewers, under the constant echo of public opinion. Fans cheered, critics condemned, and somewhere in between, kids were just trying to grow up. This is the double-edged sword of Dynasty. The perks are undeniable: power, toys, adventures, but the risks are equally real: public scrutiny, family reputation, and expectations that weigh heavier than any truck. And while the kids smiled for the cameras, the question lingered: what would all of this mean for their future? After the lawsuits, and the mounting criticism, the Diesel brothers quietly stepped away from Discovery Channel. Officially, they framed it as a chance to get back to their roots. Unofficially, many saw it as survival. On YouTube, they could control the narrative, focus on projects that highlighted charity rescues, and rebuild a damaged image. And rebuild they did. The Sparks family shifted gears, moving away from rolling coal and toward family-friendly content, epic rescues, and community projects. Instead of controversy, they leaned into positivity, portraying Heavy D not as a rebel outlaw, but as a father building something meaningful with his kids. Yet even this new chapter comes with questions. Heavy D is raising his kids inside a dynasty, handing them keys to powerful machines and filming their every milestone. Will Bo and Charlie grow into leaders who continue the legacy, or will the weight of the family name prove too heavy? For Heavy D, the dream is simple: build a future where his kids not only share his passions but also avoid his mistakes. But history shows that dynasties often walk a fine line between greatness and downfall. The Sparks family story is still being written, and whether it ends in triumph or tragedy, that's the cliffhanger fans can't look away from. If you've made it this far, you're exactly the kind of viewer we love having here. This channel is all about pulling back the curtain on the stories most people never hear, the highs, the lows, and the shocking moments that change everything. And trust me, what we've covered today is only the beginning. So if you don't want to miss the next twist, hit that subscribe button right now, turn on notifications, and join our community. Every week we're diving deeper into the untold side of fame, family, and controversy. Don't just watch, be part of it. If you watched until the very end, please comment below which country you are from.